All right, so we are officially live. We have 10 minutes, so this is going to have to be a 10-minute lecture. So, graphing quadratic equations. We're only going to take a little bit of this. There's a bunch to this, right? There's a lot that I can teach you related to this. But first of all, we're going to look at the standard form for a quadratic equation. Not the quadratic formula, which you just learned, but any quadratic equation. This is the standard form. I can't remember if I taught you this or not. I think I did.
Yeah.
That standard, and help if I write so you can read it. Standard form for a quadratic equation, it's this. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Great. Now we're going to talk about this because the a is always a number in a real quadratic equation. The a is a real number, like 2 or 1 or 7 or 12. Right, or negative 15. B is always a number. Okay? A real number. And C is always a real number. They're not left as variables. They're real numbers, okay? And so, it might be y equals 2x squared plus 5x plus 7 or something like that. So, but we're going to talk about what does the A do in terms of graphing? What does the B do in terms of graphing? And what does the C do in terms of graphing? Okay? The A, if the A is positive, then happy smiley face opens upwards, right? It opens upwards. Right? So, like this, smile. Right? And then if A is negative, you understand the way I'm writing this?
Yeah.
If negative, then opens downward.
Sad, evil face.
Right? So,
Regretful, remorseful, evil.
Crush all your hopes and dreams, face.
right?
Evil mastermind.
Opens
face.
downward, right? If it's negative, thinking negative thoughts, it's going to be a negative day for that guy, right? Right? So, but A actually tells you one other thing.
Crush all your hopes.
A tells you one other thing. It not only tells you that it's a smiley face or a frowny face, but it also tells you, okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. If it tells you how fat or skinny the parabola is.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay? Now, as A gets bigger, let's see, why don't I do this? Can I do this for increases? As A increases, is that okay?
Yeah.
As A increases, it gets skinnier.
Oh my god.
Parabola gets skinny. Parabola gets skinnier. Skinnier.
I want to make a big happy.
Right?
Gets a lot of skin.
As A gets smaller, parabola gets fatter.
Can you draw a fat parabola?
Yeah. So, example. If I had y is equal to 12x squared. A is big, right? It's a pretty large number. It's going to look like this. If this is 0, 0, it's going to look like this. It's going to be a very tall graph, very tall and skinny. Now, if this said y is equal to
-2.
1
It looks like a clip.
1/8 x squared. Wouldn't you agree with me that 1/8 is a fairly small number?
Yes.
It's a tiny bit of a fraction. You cut a pie into 8 pieces, you only get 1 piece.
What's 1/2 of a half?
Pies should never be given with only 1 piece. Do you understand that?
15,000.
Pies, I should always get 8 pieces out of an 8-piece pie. All right, is that clear? All right, just for you guys to know. Okay, now, so this is what it would look like, though, if it were that. It would be a very fat parabola.
It's a very happy smile.
Okay? Very, very happy, fat happy, right? Fat and happy, you know, proud, whatever. So that's A. Now what does B do? B is what moves the vertex. You guys know what the vertex is? The vertex is this little point, right? It's the little point here where it changes directions. That, right there, right there, right there. That's the vertex. B moves the vertex left or right. And then C, all right, so that's really all it is for B. But it doesn't, it's not like, if B was 2, it doesn't mean it moves over 2. There's a formula you have to use, okay, that incorporates B and A to find how far to the right or the left it moves.
Okay.
So we'll get there. We're not going to deal with that today. But then C tells you it moves the vertex. Yes, vertex up and down, up or down. And there's one other thing about the C. The C is also the y-intercept.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is very cool to know, because if I had an equation, it said, let's say I had an equation, y equals, 2x squared plus 7x minus 1. What's my y-intercept?
-1.
-1. So immediately on my y-axis, I know down here there is a point. I've already got 1 point. Immediately. When it's in standard form like that. That's so cool to know. All right, so
Next formula.
what do we have? We have, okay, I'm okay. I got 5 minutes. Can I erase all this?
Yeah, go. Yeah.
Really? Is that okay?
Wait, no.
This part?
Yeah, go ahead.
No.
No, okay. Can I erase that part?
You can
This
erase
side?
everything now.
I'll erase this part because you don't need this part. Okay. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to graph y equals x squared. This is the most basic. This is the most.
What are you doing?
This is the most basic quadratic equation you could get. Right? Y equals x squared. We're going to actually graph this, and we're going to use a t-chart. Right?
Whoa, that's awesome.
Now, with a t-chart, you have x, and you have y, and you have a big T, right?
Big T.
Big T, right? And
You got some big T.
so this is kind of important. Like, a lot of people would probably say, oh, let's put 0, 1, and 2, like we used to do with straight lines. The trouble is, look at this squared.
0 squared is.
Well, that's okay, it would be 0. But it's because it's squared that even when you have a negative value for x, it becomes a positive. So you have to have negatives here as well. So I'm going to say, I'm going to say -2, -1, 0, and then I'm going to go positive 1 and 2. All right? I'll just do those. I could do more. I could do -3 as well, and 3 if I wanted. I'll do a 3 down here just to show you what it'll be. But
It's exactly the same.
exactly. They're going to be identical. Watch this. If x is -2, what is -2
4.
squared? Positive 4, right? -2 times -2 is positive 4. So it's positive 4. What is if x is 1, what's -1 squared?
1.
If x is -1, I'm sorry. -1 squared is positive 1. That's interesting. And then if x is 0,
0.
y is 0. 0 squared is just 0. Now what about if x is positive 1 though?
1.
Would it be -1?
No.
No. 1 times 1 is 1.
Oh no.
And then if x is positive 2, it would be positive 4. Wow, look at the pattern here.
6.
Right? What would this be? 3 squared?
9.
9. Right? If I had to put a -3 in here, what would it be?
9.
9. -3 would also be 9. So these actually are identical. The y's are identical once you get to the place where the vertex goes. Can anybody tell me where the vertex is? 0, 0. right? That's clearly where it's turning around, right?
No, they're all different points though. 2, 4, 3, 9, they're all different points.
They are all different points, yeah. So now let's graph
But
it.
0, 0 is the
So
same.
now let's graph it.
But 0, 0
I
is
can
the
tell we're
same
not
as
going to
ours.
finish this lecture, so I'll have to do the rest of it tomorrow. But let's just graph it. Let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1,
Seriously,
2,
no,
3.
just don't do the negative 3s. No.
I know.
Should we be graphing this too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You don't need to put things on the bottom because it's not going to go down there.
Yeah.
Okay? Notice my y's are all positive. So I'm always going to be above the x line. Okay? So I don't need to put all my lines down here. All right? So I'm going to graph it right now. I'm going to, from 0, 0, I go -2 and then up 4.
That's gonna be sad face.
-2 up 4. That's right about there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Right there. And then it says -1, 1. -1 up 1, put a dot. And then it says 0, 0, put a dot. And then it says 1, 1. So go over 1 to the right, up 1, put a dot.
And then it says.
Then it says 2, 4. Over 2, up 4. That's about here-ish.
And then you have a parabola.
And then, oh, I got to do the 3, 9 though. 1, 2, 3, up 9, which is right about there, right? And then, look at this. This is -3, positive 9, -3, positive 9. It's going to be up here. Now I get to draw it. Now it's not a V. Don't get in that. Don't make that mistake of thinking, oh, it's a straight line from here to there. It isn't. It's a curved line.
Yeah, but.
So I tend to start from the vertex and try to
Oh, I missed it.
curve it up.
Oh, no.
Okay.
10. Mine's too big.
So that is the parabola. Hey Nate,
Yeah.
don't ring the bell, please. Okay. So I said don't. All right. Can you give me just 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Is that okay? I'll give you 2 minutes after longer and break. Okay. So look what I said over here. Look what it says. What does C do? What is C in this equation?
X.
Y.
What is C here?
Y.
Squared.
Think about it. Look, look.
It's 0. It's
The
0.
A goes with x squared. Look, the C,
It's 0.
it's 0.
I told you.
So you're right. So look. Guys, listen. Give me. You got to do this fast. We got to do this fast. Watch. So my vertex, it's actually my vertex. As long as there's no B, right? The B is also 0.
It's 0x.
As long as B is 0, my vertex is always going to be on the y-axis.
Oh.
And the C tells me where on the y-axis. If that's 0, I go to 0. Now,
That is the standard form because it's y. The A is 1 and the B is 0 and 0x is 0 and the C is 0 and plus 0 is 0.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So that is standard form.
Yeah, this is standard form. It just doesn't have, it has a 0B and a
As
0C.
long as your B is 0, your
And so that makes sense
vertex is
because,
going to be on the
Amy,
y-axis.
can you close that door? Amy?
because B and C move it up and down, right and left and up and down, and so it's 0 and 0. So they're both
Yeah,
0,
yeah,
so it's
right,
0.
exactly. So watch this one last thing because you need to know this in order to do this homework tonight. Watch this. If I were, you guys, focus. If I was going to give you this, y equals x squared minus 4, right? I could come down here and 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my C. That's my y-intercept.
Yeah.
I go down to -4, I put a dot. And then I can, even though I could use a new t-chart using this. Okay, listen to this, really important, Wyatt, listen. Or I could pretend that this is the origin, like 0, 0.
0.
And I could use this little formula here. I could remember, what I remember is this,
0.
over 1, up 1. over 2, up 4, over 3, up 9. Over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4, over 3, up
So all
9.
these things
This
really
is
involve
standard
squares.
parabola guide. This is what I call standard parabola guide. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But watch, over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4. Boom. Now look, I can do the over thing same this way. Over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4. Boom, and I've got my parabola.
Oh yeah.
Right? So you're going to be doing that. Over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4, over 3, up 9. Okay?